things is up. Let's see if I can. You have access to that link, right?
Where's the link?
And you
Chat?
had set this up on YouTube.
Me?
No, you didn't.
Is you had to set it up on YouTube? Is you streaming?
No.
You have the access to the TTAN YouTube page.
I do. Well, maybe Rennie said.
Yeah, I do have it.
Oh, good. Alright, hold on.
But if you did that last time, last week when we was trying to do it, you had it up on the TTAN page.
I did. But
yeah, because I saw it streaming on TTAN.
I did. Alright. Let's just do some stuff here. Alright, we are on. Links.
But if you did that last time, last week when we was trying to do it, you had it up on the TTAN page.
I did. But
yeah, because I saw it streaming on TTAN.
Alright, cool. Let's see. Just check in. Check 1, 2. Mike, I ain't seeing your screen.
No, just have my camera off. Just re-enable it.
Okay.
Okay, we have laptop there. This laptop is unnecessary stress. Right, click it, come back.
Oh, did you get the link?
You sent a link in the chat? Where is that link?
Hold on. Alright, it's in the chat. And if you could, you might probably add a actual stream.
Yeah, that's fine. I just re-enabled the cam there. I just you can normally just turn off the camera, turn it back on. It didn't come back on for some reason. I don't know what going on, but I'm gonna solve that problem shortly.
Sure.
Alright, let's see what's going on. Right, so my camera is back up. I went to the streaming link, but it's saying this video is unavailable.
Oh.
Let's see what's. Unless you made it private.
I may have.
You need to make it unlisted.
Alright, let's go check that.
Yeah. Once it's unlisted, it wouldn't be broadcast out to everybody, but we could send them the link and people could join it. So yeah, it just needs to be unlisted because I can't access it as it is.
Alright. Who are these two people watching right now?
Once it's unlisted, it wouldn't be broadcast out to everybody, but we could send them the link. Right.
Yeah, definitely need that not on feedback.
Yeah, I just muted that computer because I actually pulled it up on a different computer.
Alright, cool.
So yeah. So cool. Seems to be working. Two watching now, which should be us.
Alright.
So we could send out this link to people.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Put that in the Facebook page and for the event, and I will put it in a group and stuff like that as well.
Sure. If you have a white fast track logo lying around, send them.
Oh, okay. We're saying that first. Okay. I use that chest the other day.
Say again.
The logo I'm looking for, I use it just the other day. I just carry it saved it. But he haven't saved it.
Gotcha.
Find it short.
You have any audio coming out of speakers?
Coming out of which speakers? This laptop on?
Yeah.
No. Everything is 3D headset.
Okay, cool.
We're still getting feedback.
It's crazy. I think I know what it is.
You want it on black or on white? Or transparent?
Transparent if possible.
Alright. Well, it's transparent, but it takes black, yeah? If you put it against a black background, if you give you the other version, but I think that version is on a black background.
Yeah, other version.
Alright, I'll send you like 3 different files, and you can use whichever one works for you.
Alright, sure. Have you shared the link?
No, not yet. I given you the logo first, and I'll share the link.
See, people are popping up on TTAN.
Alright.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But yeah, 3 watching.
Yeah.
Okay. Just sending these files quickly.
Alright guys, for those of you who are tuning in, I want to say hi. And we are setting up right now. So we'll be with you shortly. Bear with us for any weird stuff on screen. silent. I wonder if people can chat. Check, check, check 1 2.
Yeah, but I've sent you two images in the chat. You can check that out. See which one works for you.
Sure.
Alright, you sent out this link.
Check, check, check 1 2. Alright, audio
Alright,
should
audio
be up.
should be up.
Alright,
Alright,
audio
audio
should be
should
up.
be up.
Alright, thanks so much. Alright, guys, so for those of us who can hear, um, oh, Citizen Trini, is that, white thing on the desk? What white thing? Okay, I have no idea. There's a there's a lot of white things on the desk. Look, guys, the Mac thing. Left my Mac. I'm on a Mac. Leave it. Sure, Mike. We'll wait on you. Awesome. Okay, guys. So we still sorting through a bit of our streaming. So there's a fair amount of feedback. Sorry, but I hope you guys can hear. Um, Mike has gone to adjust his camera, so he should be back with us soon. Hi, Victor. It's a pleasure to have you here. All right. So we have Amos and Victor. Thank you for joining us. All right. So, like I said, Mike should be back shortly, and I'll be tinkering with some of my audio, so I don't get too much feedback up in here. There we go. Logos is happening. guys. Mic is back up. Yeah, guys, trying to sort out a little bit of a feedback issue, so I'm gonna probably muting my mic off and on. And by mic, we don't mean Michael Richards. Or maybe we do. So, hey Victor, hey Amos, what sort of questions you guys may like to ask? As soon as Mike gets back, we'll jump into some topics, but please let us know if there's anything you would like to ask either of us, and we'll see it on the chat. No, Mike is actually on a PC. Yep, pretty much. The beard. Um, Not very long. Probably about 4 months. Yeah, 4 months I shaved it off. Alright, alright. Going with the flow, guys. Almost done with my setup. Yeah. Okay, that's a good question, Amos. Alright, 1 second. I will certainly answer that question for you. Oh, what film festival? Alright, good questions. Thank you, thank you. We recently had some experience with that, so we might be able to help you out. Okay. All right. So to answer that question with regards to um, regards to let's see, short film. Thank God for having these things written here because I could easily look at it and reference it, right? So basically, it's a long process. Oh, I think we have Mike back, but he is in audio format. Let me just Mike, can you hear us? Okay, Mike is doing a restart. All right. So that's been something for us that's sort of been the question for some time, as in how do we come together and pull together a short film and so on. And it's kind of tough in this environment because how I see it anyway is I usually have to do a lot of work and kind of try to survive at the same point in time, and it's a bit difficult, I guess, to really say I'm going to work on a short film um, unless you have like support and stuff like that. So for those of us who may have the opportunity to, like maybe living with your parents or somebody supporting you in some kind of way, um, I guess it might be a little easier for the younger folks because, again, parents, various opportunities like maybe with GATE or university type funding and so on. So, in a kind of way, I would be asking myself that question. So, for me, the answer to that is basically doing what you can do before you actually do a whole movie. Now, that is in reference to doing storyboards and pitch Bible, and of course, before all of that, a script, right? So, um, outside of that, it really does take an island. Like one of the folks I listen to on podcasts and so on say, business or filmmaking is not really a singular endeavor, so to speak. It is a bit of a team effort, especially the kind of results you might want to get. Now, that being said, there's at least two people I know who's done um, films by themselves and animated films. One of them is Selflux, right? And I think that's coming out of Dominica. Is it possible? No, I think I'm wrong with that. But Selflux, I think the gentleman, he did that by himself with other assistants and stuff like that. But that's the closest I know in the Caribbean to somebody who's done that by himself, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of learning the software. I believe he might have did it in possibly a real-time rendering engine. I could be wrong about that, but he's the only person I know in the Caribbean who kind of did stuff by himself. Even a show like Santana with the Muppets or Puppets, Mike would be able to tell you a little more about his team and how they would have pulled that up together. But um, getting back into it, ideally for a single person, not like in a relationship, but one individual, you want to make sure your script makes sense, right? um, you want to be able to hopefully do a storyboard and a pitch Bible. So the pitch Bible is basically an outline of the script, some storyboarding. Is it Selflux? Right. So right, Selflux is Photoshop After Effects. That's Everett McBain, and the other guy. Oh God, what is it? Alan Bedard. Come on, guys, help me out here. So Alan Bidar did a 3D version, Selflux is 2D, and they are the only two people I know in the Caribbean who kind of did their own thing, um, as much as by themselves. Oh, what was Chronicles of something? Battle Dream Chronicles. There we go. So I actually have been trying to get my hands on Alan Bedard to do a interview about Battle Dream Chronicles, because as far as I know, he did that by himself, right? May have had a small team on it and stuff like that. I do know that Everard, as far as I know, would have done that 2D animation by himself. So I'm not too sure how far he's reached. But generally, just to reiterate what I was saying, the the doing it by itself tends to be very tough, but generally there are steps to get it done, and you should have those steps done regardless of if you're doing it by yourself or if you are gonna do it with a team. Because from my perspective, if I have a storyboard or animatic or pitch bible, I can take it to investors, and from there hopefully it'll get funded, or at least if I take a storyboard into animatic, I could have that as something for people to watch, right? So there's my advice in terms of doing things by yourself. I don't know, those who keep up with me on Instagram and Facebook, I tend to put out a fair amount of ideas and stuff like that. All right. So Amos. Oh,
But if you hear audio, are you hearing my audio?
I am Mike, but I'm hearing a fair amount of echo.
Okay, well, I don't know what's causing that right now, because I have on headphones, but yeah. I just want to jump in terms of that doing a project by yourself thing. As you would have mentioned, the Santana movie, which I was a part of a couple of years ago. Um, One of the things you have to keep in mind is even if you're doing something by yourself, you have to be realistic in terms of what you can achieve and in what space of time. Because you can do anything by yourself if you have enough time. And animation is already very time consuming as it is. So if you wanted to do an animated production feature length by yourself, you're asking a lot of yourself. It's going to take very long, it's going to be very hard, and yeah, you have to be
Hello?
very, it's not impossible, but it's a very else, is really a teamwork game. So is really a teamwork game. So if you load other people involved, then it makes the load a little easier to by it. But it's not really impossible to do it by it.
Yeah. So for those of you who, I think Mike may or may not be cutting out there, I don't know how well you hear him. I'm hearing him fairly okay with a little cutout. But as I was saying, teamwork is generally a good idea for doing these things. I know it's tough, but the only encouraging advice I could say is if you actually have the ability and the time, I mean, reach out just like you're doing here. Um, be sure to interact with us on the TTAN Facebook page, right? We could always, well, mostly advice. Advice is free. So let's see what you have. Let's see what you're up to. In TTAN, we usually try to push various grants and opportunities you might have. Sometimes there may be an opportunity for you to write a script. Sometimes an opportunity to do a short film. But I think the most important here is to keep something going, right? Do something, do the storyboards, do your script. So like say for instance, I consider myself pretty good with doing shots, and stuff like that. But Mike is way better than me in terms of script. So in terms of script and story, I'll probably check Mike first, because I've realized for myself I'm just not that good at it. All right. Okay. Here we go. Mike is here.
Yes, I
Yes.
am risen.
All right. Cool. Do we keep switching to TTAN? Hold on 1 second. See if I could help this out. Yeah, so like I said, script, storyboard, previs is absolutely great. I'm actually trying to do some previs for some things right now, so I can put it in front of people. Um, and yeah, that is just kind of how it is. So I mean, on one hand, definitely stay tuned to TTAN. Maybe I'll get Mr. McBean and Ali Dad, who did Black Dream Chronicles, to maybe chat with us about that single working effort, and if it is they really had 30 people behind it or not. Um,
Yeah, because even on the Santana movie, it wasn't really a one-man job. And that's live action, which is a lot easier to do than animation. And it was effectively about three or four of us um, overall on the production. Some days there were more than others. We'll have help from additional hands on set, but that was really tough to get done, even with the four of us, even in live action and even with puppets. You would think
yeah.
that those things a little make it easier, but it really doesn't make it much easier. It's just one challenge after the next, and you have to find realistic ways of overcoming those challenges with the resources that you have. That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, sorry, Jonathan. We're doing our best. We'll probably do some follow up with the system in the future, just so I don't get all this echo. That's why we're both of us on headsets right now.
Yeah.
So we try. Um, let's see what else. So there was another part to that question Amos asked, which was experience pitching to foreign investors, or is that what film festivals is for? So that's kind of two parts there. So pitching to foreign investors, I would say no. Mike would probably have experience with that with Santana. So Mike, what's your experience with pitching to foreign investors?
I would say my experience with pitching with foreign investors is the same as pitching with local investors. It's very difficult to convince them to basically fund your dream. To you, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you really have to convince them that they're not putting their money into something that's a waste of time. And that's really how you have to look at it. You can't be too in love with your concept because you're asking them to shell out money and accept some of the risk. And you have to be realistic in terms of what you're really asking for because until it makes money, there's no proven formula to say, well, yes, this is definitely going to be profitable and I should put my money behind it and whatnot. I mean, we would all love an investor to just give us money to make whatever the hell we want, but that's not realistically how it works. And again, you have to kind of be a little realistic in terms of your expectations. I would say if it's the first project you're working on, don't even think about pitching to foreign investors. Try to make a solid product, test it out in the local market, see if you could build an audience for it first, and then you could worry about investors after, because nobody is going to invest in you if you're unproven. And in a lot of cases, even if you are proven, it's still very difficult to get people to invest in you. So um, I would say don't even worry too much about the foreign investors at this point.
Yeah, I want to agree, Mike. I would word it somewhat a little differently. So I wouldn't say don't necessarily don't worry about your foreign investors, but I would, because at the end of the day right now, it's almost like we have to be in a global market. So if for some reason you happen to have a foreign friend on Facebook or something, and from day one they interested in your project, then great, right? But I think what Mike is also trying to say is, if you don't have things like a script, a storyboard, a previs, a pitch bible, something you could fully handle with an investor, then you're getting very far ahead of yourself.
Yep.
So, yeah. So work on the basics. Even myself, who have been doing ads and stuff for quite some time, pitching a film or a series is really different from doing ads. You know, it's a whole other different ball game. But like I said, that's the solid base of it. Okay, script, storyboard, previs, pitch bible. That's kind of the steps before
And I'm
that.
seeing Amos there asking about YouTube. YouTube is definitely a way to go, especially if you're trying to test your ideas on the audience, because really that's what it boils down to is, will you have an audience for the production once the production is finished? So YouTube is a great place to test that. Don't expect to make money off of YouTube because realistically, we are way too small to really make a profit off of YouTube. Even the bigger players in YouTube not making as much profit as you might think. But it is a great place for testing your ideas and building your audience. So I would suggest go that route first, kind of get feedback and feel what the market is looking for and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, agree with Mike as well. So here's something else I was thinking about recently. So as some of you guys, yeah. So as some of you guys may know, I would have made some posts recently in regards to like decline in business and stuff like that, especially for myself. So I've been looking at various avenues. So in terms of YouTube, Instagrams, how do I get my things out there? And one of the things that came up, so I spoke to Andy Berhaza. I'm sorry if I fucked up your name, Andy. Andy of Coded Arts. And he was chatting about things like investments and foreign investments and so on. Now, this is not movie, this is investing in a business and so on. So, on that note, again, use the use the opportunities, use the links that you might know. So some of you might actually have links outside, in the US, maybe Europe. Who knows? You know, be sure to push your product or idea to your network, because this is your network, and this is the opportunity for you to get your stuff out there, to get your stuff on a global level. So that's kind of also one of the things I'm looking to link in with. Hi, Philip. Nice to see you. Well, hear from you anyway. Um, so yeah, so I think in terms of foreign investments, it's great. Have your base stuff ready to go in case people want to invest. And as Mike was saying about that whole being proven versus unproven, let's just say if I show up with all these things, again, storyboard, previs, script, all this kind of stuff, I'm probably gonna fare a lot better than somebody who's like, "Hey, I have an idea," right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, um,
And another thing, don't assume that if you have those things that it's a guaranteed either.
it's not. It's hard work.
Yes, it's never really a guarantee. It's always an uphill battle. Even after we did the full Santana movie and it sold out in cinemas, we could say, well, okay, we've proven, it was still almost impossible to get any investors involved. So there's never a guarantee.
Right, right. Um, and even to extend that point, I'm sure there's a couple movies you could think of that had big Hollywood budgets. You want to see an next one, but it's just not happening.
Yep.
So even on an international level, it's kind of tough, right? And I mean, how much movies you guys went to or see and be like, yeah, well, I could have do something better than that. See, it happens all the time,
Yeah.
right? So the next part of that question was in terms of festivals. Um, I think I think Mike, have you ever gone to festivals like in Florida or anything like that?
No, I haven't, not directly. So I can't really say too much about that. Um, but I have a general idea of how festivals play into the whole industry. And it may not be what you expect because, especially like with local festivals and regional festivals, again, it's about building exposure and getting feedback. It's not so much about getting distribution because you're not realistically going to get distribution from a festival, right? So with everything, you just have to be mindful and realistic in terms of what you're getting out of it. You know, it's not that there's one method that if you go that way, it's going to lead to instant success. Nothing is guaranteed in this industry.
Right. Um, so I do have I do have a little bit of insight into festivals. Um, so let's see. So first of all, the there would have been the Kid Screen Animation Festival that happened a couple months ago, and we would have shared some information to the TTAN group. You could actually go in the group right now, check in documents, and there's actually a report from one of the Kid Screen festivals. And this was done by the Anime Carib team, and a couple of those um, folks who went up there, they give a report and of their experiences. So it's a good document to read. Um, I've had the opportunity to go to Jamaica for Kingston Festival along with Junan Alkins on her BAM project. So I would have gone as an artist along with Rajan Gendra, some of you would know Rajan, as well as Omari Hutchinson, sorry. Um, and it was a great opportunity for promotion. Um, you get to meet a lot of people, investors get to see what's happening. So festivals, I guess, is like networking. You get to meet people
Yeah,
who might want to buy your stuff. You'll meet people who just interested. You might meet people who you might see a awesome background artist you want on your team. So that's one part of going to festivals. Then there's the other part with screenings. So you actually do your film. So like say for instance, Battle Dream Chronicles right now, I think has gone to over 20 or 30 festivals and he's been gaining some excellent traction. I'm very proud of him and his product coming out. Um, so it's a really great way to to get into it. So I'm almost sure right now, with the amount of festivals Battle Dream Chronicle has gone to, that he might be getting another Netflix deal soon. So it's possible. Um, so I think like most things, as a filmmaker is or animator, it's kind of up to us to keep abreast of festivals that's happening, things you could submit to. I'll give you guys a idea. So I would love to do some previs type things which because I can't afford to do a short or anything, but I could afford to do a previs and send it to a festival. You know, it's something you guys could do. So is on TTAN, your eyes on the animation networks, whether in your country. The folks who work hard and volunteer for TTAN, when we get our information, we try to share it for the benefit of you guys because I think before TTAN, things just used to be scattered. If you hear about it, you hear about it, or you find out the next day. I know Green Screen Festival, and you could have entered a month ago or something like that, right? Um, so just saying, in terms of festivals, they're all good. If you have the opportunity to submit something, please do. And it's a great opportunity for meeting people, meeting investors, and I suppose the higher the festival, so to speak, you have to be more prepared, right?
Yeah, I also want to add something onto this discussion about festivals. As Kevin raised the topic about the Lexo series, I don't know if everybody would know, but about a year ago, we submitted something for, oh gosh, what's this thing? I can't remember the name of it. What's that? Caribbean Tale,
Right, right.
right? And basically, out of that, we want something where basically Flow is going to sponsor a season of the Santana TV series, right? Well, that is what was promised. Actually, no, sorry, they promised a pilot, and we was like, okay, cool. We'll make the pilot if you're funding the pilot. We have our ideas, we have scripts, we have everything ready. So we set about starting to get that done. And somewhere during the planning stages of that pilot, they said, you know what, we want to do 2 seasons of this show because we believe in this show. And we were like, well, that's great. You have an investor here who has distribution, who believes in your show, and they order in 2 seasons before the pilot even done. That sounds great.
We like it.
Yeah, they love it. So we like, okay, cool. And then they mentioned how much money they were willing to spend on said production of 2 seasons.
Oh.
Needless to say, it was ridiculous, right? And there was a long period of negotiations back and forth because, I mean, we want to do it, but it costs money, right? And realistically, what you're offering cannot cover the cost of producing 2 seasons of a show. You didn't say 2 episodes, you said 2 seasons. And eventually negotiations sort of broke down and we kind of pulled away from it because in as much as they said they wanted to do the show and they believed in the show, it would not have been worth our while to do it for the amount of money they were offering. Basically, we would be taking all the risk on our head, financially and otherwise. Um, so it was ridiculous. It wasn't worth it. And this is the other thing I'm saying in terms of being realistic. When you go to these things and you get your stuff out there, even if an investor is interested, doesn't necessarily mean that all your problems solved, right? So take everything with a pinch of salt. Look at the market. Look at your options, and be very careful with contracts, right? Read your contracts, see what you're being asked to do and what you're getting in return. So let's just keep that in mind when entering festivals and whatnot and pitching to investors that you kind of have to safeguard yourself to some extent.
Yes. Um, so while I was listening to Mike, I remembered something. So this is just a indicator. So Kevin was saying just now, and Kevin is the head of the Jamaica Animation Network, Kevin Jackson. So he was talking about what it is you want from the festival and stuff like that. Um, Now, in this particular case, the people who are having dealings with Mike and the Alexa TV deal, obviously they're trying to get the best bang for the buck and so on, and that's fair. Of course, it's up to you to decide what it is you want to do. So just an illustration to show, this could go anywhere you want. So, like, I remember my friend Stephen Taylor. He had to go. He got accepted into directing school, film school in LA, I believe. And this guy worked his butt off. He was in car wash, curry Q, barbecue thing for like a good year. No, that is I just think I'm real proud of him. I don't have the belly to do that thing. I really don't. But a lot of getting through it does depend on how much you can put in or how much you want to put in sometimes. Um, so I'd say the power is yours. Use your creativity for some of these things. I myself doing the same. So if you ever hear me going through problems, feel free to suggest to me as well. All right. So for those of you who just joining in, I just want to introduce myself and Mike once more. So my name is Nicholas Maxwell. I am the creative director and owner of Big Shiny Pixel. I currently serve as the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Animation Network. Mike, or Michael Richards, is the owner of Fast Track VFX. He has served on the board as president and vice president of TTAN before. We've both been working in TNT for quite some time, whether it be doing ads, visual effects, and I think we're now getting into IP. Well, me anyway. Mike is a veteran of IP apparently.
And not a veteran.
Well, hey, use Mr. Santana. You along with Mr.
Hey, Santana is not only me, right? I am part of the team.
Right, but all the same, are invaluable part. So just one thing I wanted to mention. So Jonathan Schooner was here a little while ago, and he would have helped us out on let's say a 1 minute spot, animated spot for a KFC some time ago. And I recall the entire production team for that was about 30 people. So that was including animators, cameramen, production, myself, directors, all kind of thing. And that project was anywhere between $300,000-400,000 TT. And for me, that was pretty good animation. So when you're trying to scale up, it becomes a little difficult for animation, especially in the Caribbean. Um, so there was a question asked just now about if previs is practical. I'm a big believer in previs. Like, you have no idea. If I had the opportunity to suggest to everybody before a movie, before a commercial, before whatever, do a previs, do a storyboard. Um, it helps you figure out your stuff because once it's shot or once it's in animation production, it becomes very, very tough to change something like that, or it becomes very costly.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that 100%.
exactly. Now, on the other hand, well, actually, not on the other hand, but you can, just like how I had this idea, to use Previs as a both as a pitching tool, a fundraising tool. I don't see any problem sending it to festivals. Maybe throw up a little GoFundMe at the end. Promote it on your social networks, get people invested, that kind of thing. So I am a big advocate for previs, and I figure where everyone is in the Caribbean right now. For those of us who might have limited resources, previs is the best way to go. You could draw, you could storyboard, you could cut together edited music. right?
The other advantage of previs as well, especially in the current economic climate, I think it's a valuable asset to offer client previs because you end up saving them money in the long run. Anything you can do to help them save money is an asset to them and makes you more valuable to the production overall, which means more work for you, right? So from a business standpoint, it's a good idea to focus on previs and sharpening up the previs and storyboard skills, which you can then offer to the market.
Yeah. All right, guys. All right, guys. So things are getting a little loud by me, so I may have to wrap this up soon. And we could continue this next time. But be sure to ask questions on the TTAN group. We'll be here to answer. All right. But I just want to answer two more questions. We are close to 3 p.m. I did plan to stay for an hour. And I just want to say thanks to Mike once more. And thanks to everyone who is showing up. And I guess feel free to Mako conversations in the back, you know. um, so let's see. I got a question from Victor, and he was asking about new advertising technology. All right, 1 second, Victor. I need to adjust some audio. Hello. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So, really and truly, in terms of advertising technology, um, game engines is the biggest thing right now, because it cuts out rendering. It enables you to do AR, VR, um, and basically real time feedback on your models, your ads. That's probably one of the biggest things for me right now, and it's kind of proliferated into the various softwares. So that being Blender, Cinema 4D, Maya, they've all gone across to this sort of 2.1 interface, right? Um, and you could almost render out stuff from using that interface, which is basically a game engine type of interface. So I see that as a interesting change in technologies from certain render engines and so
And another
on.
interesting point on that note, some years ago, when Video Copilot was working on Element 3D, the initial engine that they used was a modified game engine, basically, that they built for After Effects, which allowed you to do, lightning fast 3D particles and whatnot in After Effects. So it has been something developing over a period of time. Um, but that said, you're still limited by the types of jobs that you get. So it's not so much the technology that makes a difference. It's more in terms of what message and what types of message the clients want to send. So it's not necessarily a question of just adopting technology because it's new. Because especially in Trinidad, we still have a lot of ads that look the same as they did 20 years ago. And that's not the fault of
We
the
still
artist or
have
the
ads from
technology.
20 years ago.
Well, that too. But I just say it's not the fault of the artist or the technology. It's just if that's what the client is asking for and prepared to pay for, then that's what you have to give them. So you gotta keep that in mind. Again, it's not because there's new technology, we're gonna do all these amazing new things with it. The potential is there, but if the job's not coming in requiring those things, then there's only so much you can do.
Right. Um, Good point. I would advocate also for any artists out there um, to spend some time learning. To be quite honest, like software just coming hot and heavy, and there was an artist, a real good artist out there, and he basically was saying that software just coming, right? And if you take a day or a week just to check it out, be up to date, figure out how it works. Um, well, depending on the software anyway, it's a fairly good idea because you never know what could come out of it. Unless it's some sort of dedicated field like hardcore rendering or modeling or something that you're in and Fireball and all other software. But it's a good idea. So to just kind of keep up with the trends and so on because I know some people there was an editing software called Media 100 and this is what 15, 20 years later and people like now moving on and that kind of thing and wondering why it isn't getting jobs or something like that.
Yeah.
So like say for instance, uh, different. Okay, so the trends in the render engines, you might find Blender has the EV engine now, so people might be moving away from the Redshift, the GPU, and so on, and kind of moving on those things. But in terms of new advertising technology, like I said, there's the AR, the render engines. So that's pretty good and something I'm interested in looking forward to. Let's go down here. Right, yes. So Victor offers animation training at Dollar Bill Studios. So you could always check him out. He occasionally posts his ads on TTAN. And Victor, we encourage you to keep on doing that. The idea is to have a community that, we just kind of had to come together because as it is right now, unlike some years before with oil and so on, we simply cannot depend on the government to fund IP or so on. That isn't to say they're not absolutely on it, but it's really at their pace when they decide to release either grants or loans from the IDB or stuff like that. But to say, to keep in your head, like I may have at one point in time, I'm going to depend on a government grant or government assistance to produce my film or so on. Currently, that's just not the financial landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. And this is why I'm encouraging people to reach out, link as animators, see what can be done. There were two people on the group that actually asked about doing films, collaboration, and sometimes something. Um, it's not always possible. Like I know my time is quite limited sometimes, but like say for instance, I've made a link with Mike. We've worked over the years, and I'm comfortable with Mike. And where I can help, I will. There are some things I may not be able to because it's kind of like I'm gonna spend a month doing VFX and renting a paying or dying on the side, that kind of thing. But where I can help, I will. Um, So I encourage everyone to keep on linking up, keep on sharing information. We're trying to do something special as the Trinidad and Tobago Animation Network. Bear with us. We're all volunteers inside here, and we're aiming for bigger. And I think it's a great thing right now. Just that simple collaboration and information sharing is going to do a lot for us until we can do better, get ideas from the community, these kind of things, more help with volunteers to help our industry because we're pioneers at the moment. Regardless of how you look at it, in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, we are the pioneers right now. All right. Right. Reading some stuff from Mr. Jackson.
Yeah. I'll also
TTN, oh, sorry,
mention,
Mike.
yeah, in terms of the collaboration and stuff like that, I'm producing IP. Um, I I have been working on a number of different things in terms of IP over the years. We did the um, birds of a feather, which is just a concept thrown out there, born out of the idea of collaboration and sharing, that blossomed into something a little bigger. And now I'm working on a live action series that I'm actually partnering with Ryan Khan and Roger Alexis from Santana. And, I'm bringing in other people into it as well because you have to keep doing things and increasing your ability to perform certain types of tasks. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to sit down and wait for funding, it's never going to happen. So it's always a good idea to develop things, develop small things, put it out there, get people involved, get the feedback, build on your skills, and then you'll be in a better position if you are looking for foreign investments or whatnot to be able to say, well, okay, this is what I bring to the table. This is the team I have who have the skills, and all we need is X, Y, and Z to complete the project. Rather than waiting for a handout to say, well, okay, now that we have money, we can start. So that's another thing to keep in mind in terms of the virtues of collaboration.
Yes. And I just want to mention to those here, for those of you who will be watching this in the future, um, please continue to post your work on TTAN because it's places where we could go and see what people are about, see what you're up to, see how far your skills have gone, right? I think outside of talent, I cannot or could not find in Trinidad at the time. Every one I've hired has been through the Trinidad and Tobago Animation Network. So if you're a freelancer, if you're doing this on your own, if you're doing things on the side, please post your work. Like right now, I think we probably have a shortage of people who do rigging in TNT. And Mike posted up a little um, a sort of a who does what pool. So I saw people doing rigging and who doing textures and stuff like that. And the only two people I've seen really do rigging outside of Mike occasionally would be Kishan Narayan. So big up to Kishan. I'm glad that you're continuously posting stuff. And, he's an inspiration to me because he does 3D work, he has his store, um, and he's doing aquaponic gardening as well. So keep it up, Kishan. Okera Damani, I think is his last name.
Yeah,
He
the
worked
money.
with me on a small teas project recently. I saw his work, it was really good. He's training with Carissa of Lagoon Animation Studios right now, and this is through the Skills for Global Services, which we had a video on sometime year before. So good things are coming out of that. So guys, keep on posting your work. We want to see what you're up to. And you never know who's looking. And feel free to always ask. Hey, there's Kishan. And feel free to always ask questions. Um, we're here to help. If we can, we will. All right. So it's 3:04, guys. Do we have any questions to wrap up, Mike? And if you have anything you want to say before we wrap?
Nothing specifically. We could always do this at another time and get into some more technical areas, like in terms of the schooling and which areas are in demand and stuff like that. We could always do another session with that.
Sure, sure, no worries. All right, cool. So I want to say super thanks for all those who were able to make it out today. Apologies for the audio. Um, we be trying. So you would think this would have been a much easier setup, but it's a little pain in the butt. Thanks for bearing with all the excess chatting. It's all good. And I want to encourage everyone again. Um, And thank you, Jonathan. And guys, let me just make a quick shout out to Jonathan Schoon, excellent character animator. He's been a lead animator on at least two of my projects, and I believe he currently teaches at Huey. So check him out, Jonathan Schoon, Bottle and Spoon Animations. Oh, great, yeah. Um, so thanks again to everyone who came out. And again, I encourage you to interact with TTAN. For those of you who can, um, the membership is free, but if you pay your membership for the year, you'll be supporting what we do. And one of the major things that we pay for through our membership, I've paid it for a number of years. Some of the board members would have chipped in to help pay our membership to a larger organization, which is called TTCSI. Through this, we get a lot of opportunities that gets filtered through this larger organization and comes directly to us, right? So this is one of the ways that your membership or your support to Titan helps. It really encourages us as the board to know that people are participating and want to get the information and want to push the industry forward, right? Outside of that, we're always looking for volunteers. So, say for instance, somebody might jump up and say, "Hey, Titan need XYZ." So how it works is everyone is a volunteer. Our membership doesn't pay for anything outside of, like I said, the TTCSI membership. So chances are we depend on you as the membership to work with us to move the industry forward, right? And we want to have a lot more of these talks and share as much information as we can to help you guys maybe avoid some of the pitfalls that I have or Mike has, um, because it don't make sense at this point trying to run the hamster wheel around and around, and people making a bunch of different mistakes. So we want you guys to learn from what we've done, what we're planning to do, and through our NGO status and industry representative, we're able to go to various governmental meetings or things associated with the industry, be able to lobby for certain things, especially through TTCSI. So having an official organization really helps move the industry as an industry. All right, so that's my spiel, guys. I want to thank everyone once again, and Mike, you'll keep on fighting the good fight. And let's see if we could maybe do this next week again, Mike. What do you think?
Next weekend is Mother's Day weekend, so I'm not
Right.
sure how free people will be.
Right. So
Um,
we'll ask your
but
mom
again,
to come on and chat with us.
yeah, we can put it out to the group and see what day is feasible to them. That's another point too. In terms of the Titan group, it's very open and collaborative, and you don't necessarily have to wait for us to broach certain topics. If you have a question or something you want to discuss, feel free to bring it up in the group. Um, Chances are, one of the admins is going to see it and interact with you and put you into the right direction or help you find the answers that you need. So always feel free to contact us via the group and to raise issues that may be affecting you publicly in the group so that you can benefit from the membership.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I'll call that George for today. And again, really good turnout, guys. I'm very happy.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Yes. All right. So with that, we out. Peace.
All right.